Good day to you. Welcome to another Bernie Miklasz Show here on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and the audience continues to grow. The comments are outstanding. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. And I want to thank you all again. Well, time to raise the little cane. I tell you what, I'm not sure what the Cardinals are thinking or doing. And I know there is some valor in fighting hard to the end, right? I'm talking about their playoff hopes, not me, because they don't have any playoff hopes. That's the point. But I'm sorry to mix sports here in my references, but they don't need this Newt Rockney thing going on. Okay, they need to give some people a chance to play. If you want to look at the standings, I don't know, by the way, why I am talking so slow. Sorry. But if you look at the standings, and I'm doing this just to humor people, but also to just kind of underline the point. Cardinals are 72 and 71. They are 6.5 games out of the third wild card spot with 19 games left. They have 3 teams in front of them. They're a game and a half behind the Cubs. They are 5.5 behind the Braves, and they are 6.5 behind the Mets. And by the way, with the exception of the Braves, who have leveled off a little bit, the problem for the Cardinals is that those teams are playing well and racking up some wins. So I don't even want to get into the scenarios here because I don't want to insult your intelligence. The bottom line is Cardinals have a 0.6% chance of making the playoffs, according to Fangraphs on this Tuesday morning. And this whole rah thing, we're gonna dig in and we're gonna go hard to the end. We're gonna, it's not over till it's over. Whatever other damn cliches you want to use. It's just, I'm sorry, man. It's just ludicrous at this point. And I think if there are any doubts whatsoever, still remaining about this, well, maybe they can make the play. Listen, losing 2 out of 3 at home to Seattle and your offense is completely shut down for the most part. Nah. And if the Cardinals are going to dig into the end and fight, go team. We're not dead yet. Fight. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Go back to August where they, still had a chance to do some things, and they lost. They go to Wrigley Field and they lose 3 out of 4, and it was pretty ugly. They go to Cincinnati and get swept. They lost the series to the Dodgers, which a lot of teams do. But my point is, if you have a pretty narrow margin for error anyway, you can't play the Cubs and the Reds and lose 6 out of 7 games. You've got to be more competitive than that. Where was the urgency then, right? Where was the fight? Where was that at then, right? So you'll have to pardon me for being a curmudgeon, but I'm just not into this whole thing because what they're doing, what Oli Marmol is doing, and I'm gonna point at him. And this is the thing. I will defend him when I think that some of the stuff said about him is stupid. I'll defend him. But if I see something that I know is really stupid or just kind of highly questionable, I don't hesitate to point that out. I do not hesitate to point that out. So I want to zero in on a couple of things. Like, why is Victor Scott sitting on the bench, right? Why is Luken Baker sitting on the bench? What is the plan here? What is the purpose here? Now, if I were to be a devil's advocate against my own argument, I would say, well, the Cardinals have been playing pretty well, and they haven't had a chance to go against many left-handed pitchers lately, and that's why Baker's not in. They haven't had a chance to go against a lot of left-handed pitchers lately, and that's why Baker's not in there, because we all know he hits lefties. And Scott's not in there because Michael Ciani's back, and he's really good defensively and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm a Siani fan, so I'm not going to sit here and disparage him. But my point is, what purpose is served by having Victor Scott sit on the bench? He needs reps. He needs to play. And oh, by the way, he's pretty damn good himself defensively. I think Siani's better, but Victor Scott, is not a liability out there. He's fine. I mean, his metrics are fine. And the thing that bothers me about this, and I'm going to try to connect some dots here, he's had only 3 plate appearances since September the 2nd. That was since they got back from winning that series at Yankee Stadium. And Victor Scott has been up to the plate 3 times in 6 games. And before that, he went through an 11-game stretch where Victor Scott was one of your best hitters. He batted, before they put him on the bench to let him just sit, basically, he was hitting .297. He had a .350 on-base percentage. He had a .487 slug in the previous 11 games before he basically disappeared from the lineup. Again, I like Siani, and unfortunately, both of these dudes hit from the left side of the plate. But why does Siani have to play every day, against right-handers? Why? Since when did he become, with no disrespect to him, but I must have missed it when Siani became Jim Edmonds or something, okay? Where it's like, oh, we have to have him in there. Not really, not at this time of the season, not with 19 games left and you're six and a half out. This is a time, what Siani can do, and this is a time to play Victor Scott. And I don't think you're going to lose all that much defensively. 3 plate appearances in the last 6 games. And, oh, by the way, Siani hasn't done anything offensively during that time. And, Baker can't get off the bench. Again, he's had 3 plate appearances in the last 6 games, and he was one of their most impactful hitters before that. And 3 plate appearances since the Cardinals won 14-7 at Yankee Stadium. By the way, he hit the big blow, a 2-run homer there on that Sunday game. He's had 3 plate appearances since then. And, before that, he had gone through a stretch talking about Luken Baker where he was hitting, really, really well, where he was hitting for a lot of power. He was hitting home runs. He had 2. He had drove in 7 runs. At a 940 OPS. He was on a really nice roll there. And then all of a sudden, Oli Marmol decided, stop the music. Stop the music. No, we're not going to play him. No, we're not going to play Victor Scott. By the way, Siani, since he returns 3 for 21 with 5 strikeouts. You tell me how Victor Scott would do worse than that, especially if he's facing right-handed pitching. The answer is he wouldn't. Okay. The problem is, if look, I'm a pragmatic guy. If the lineups that Marmol were using with Baker a non-factor and Scott a non-factor, okay, if they were rolling and if they were scoring a lot of runs, you say, well, look, it seems a little odd to me that they're not playing Scott or Baker more than they have because it's basically slim and none and nil. But they're scoring a lot of runs, so hey, no real need to complain or holler about it. They're scoring more runs, and so things are going well. Except things are not going well offensively. That's the point. The guys that Oli Marmol keeps running out there aren't really doing much. I mean, a few of them are. Don't get me wrong. But in the last 6 games, and again, in these last 6 games, Scott has been to the plate 3 times and Baker has been to the plate 3 times. And these are guys who should be playing for a team that is out of the race, okay? Any at-bats they get could be meaningful or at least give you another look at them over the final 19 games. And Victor Scott, as a young rookie, young major leaguer, he just needs to play, period. There's no point in having him up here for a team that's already lost the race, all right? So The offense is not scoring, which makes this even more ludicrous. The offense has been shut down a lot in the last week. And we can talk small sample. I get it. But all we have to go on right now is small sample sizes. And in fact, the remaining schedule is a small sample. So I don't, I'm usually one to, to go into oh, that's a small sample. Be careful with that. I'm usually kind of in that camp, but this late in the season, it doesn't apply. So in the last 6 games, the Cardinals have averaged 3.3 runs. They've hit 179. They've had a slugging percentage under 300. Their on-base percentage is abysmal. It's about 250. They've hit an average of less than a home run every 9 innings. Their strikeout rate is 27%. And in these 6 games, they have scored 3 or less 4 times. And they've only scored more than 4 1 time. So this big plan to, storm back and shock the world and make the playoffs. This ain't 1964, okay? This isn't 1964. And people of a certain age will know what I'm talking about. Gene Mauch is not managing all these other teams, all right? So, I mean, I appreciate the spirit of wanting to, hang in there till the end. But your offense is moribund. Your offense is dismal. Your offense is back again in the shutdown mode. There ain't much happening. I mean, he scored 7 runs all weekend against Seattle and losing 2 out of 3. And the pitching has been, they've had a few good starts during that stretch. So what is the point? I'm saying it again. I don't get it. You have guys that are not hitting and guys that frankly look a little worn down. I'll give you an example. In the last 6 games, Alec Burleson has been the DH in 5 of them. And we all agree that Alec Burleson, has done a lot of good things this year, and he has been a nice surprise. But Alec Burleson has stopped hitting. He has not been in the lineup. Excuse me. He has not been hot in the lineup for a long time. Is he wearing down? Did the opposing dugouts figure out a way to pitch him? Has he developed some bad tendencies or habits at the plate? I'm not sure the answer. And I don't think you needed me to go into a deep dive on that stuff. All I know is that since July the 22nd, Burleson's got 3 home runs and 157 at bats, and he's slugging 312 and he's batting 229. And it gets even worse since he has not homered since, I believe, August the 17th. And so, after that time in, 70 at bats, there's no home runs and there's a 286 slugging percentage. And there's just not much going on. He's even not even hitting right-handed pitching. And as you know, he's a left-handed bat. He's hitting 233 over the last 3 weeks against right-handed pitching. And in September, Burleson's 3 for 24, all singles. And so the numbers are pretty conclusive. Like, this guy either needs a break, and they were off yesterday, the Cardinals. He needs a break, or Oli Marmol needs to just get over this. 20, I don't know what the odds are, but this, 100 to 1,000,001 chance they make the playoffs. And actually, if your lineup stinks, why don't you get some people in there that might change that a little bit? We saw Scott hit really, really well before he vanished to the bench. We saw Baker hit for a lot of power, also draw a lot of walks, which the Cardinals don't do, by the way. And for that, he has become persona non grata. Maybe I'm overstating it, but you get the point. So I really don't get this. I don't get this at all. And it also applies to pitching. Now, I'm a big boy, and I know how this works. Lynn's coming back. He's going to start, I think, in the Cincinnati series, which begins tonight. And so I get it. Okay, Lynn, we signed him for a reason. He's back. He's rehabbed, blah, 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 blah. Lynn ain't going to be a Cardinal next season. Unless this organization is completely off the rails insane, okay? He's not going to be a Cardinal pitcher next season. They'd be completely crazy to bring him back, given the durability issues and the pitching and everything else, his age. He's supposed to be a big innings eater, and he hasn't been because he hasn't been able to pitch deeper into games enough, and then he's been out for a while. He's not going to be back. So why are you? Well, we got to show respect to Lance. You showed him respect by signing him to a contract when he wasn't getting much business out there after last season. Okay, what? I don't get it. Why can't Michael McGreevy get a chance to start? Why is he down in the minors? And last I checked, he's pitching well. And even if his most recent start or something, and I don't know, didn't go so well, so what? He showed you that he's worth another look. So you're going to just not look at him at all the rest of the way? You're not going to give him another chance to get more comfortable in the big leagues? And I'd like to see Quinn Mathews up here. Now, I guess there's a reason to, take an opposite view. But I'm seeing a guy that has pitched very well at every level of the minor leagues this season. And he's got really nasty stuff, and he's got great strikeout rates and great swing and miss. In other words, stuff that the Cardinals don't have in their rotation, other than Sonny Gray. He gets good strikeouts, swing and miss. Cardinals also don't have a left-handed starter in their rotation. But what would be the harm of bringing Quinn Mathews up to make a couple of starts? I mean, he is a legitimately exciting prospect. And maybe the point would be, well, they still think they're in it. They're not. And kind of like, well, the Cardinals, they're worrying about whatever the rules are now from, eligibility and all this stuff and how it affects arbitration. I can't keep up with it. And, I'm sorry for that, but I don't get into the truly nerd stuff. But wouldn't you like to see Quinn Mathews? Wouldn't you like to see a sneak preview? And something fascinates me that's going on. I saw yesterday, MLB TradeRumors.com. The Texas Rangers, who like the Cardinals are, out of playoff contention, they're bringing up their number one pitching prospect, the guy who was a really early pick in the draft, if you remember, Kumar Rocker, who has been sizzling, down in the minors. They're bringing him up to start a game Thursday. And they need someone to take that start. They have a couple injuries, point well taken, but I don't think they're going to, give him one start and then ship him out here. But even if they did, they're at least going to look at him and they're going to say, you know what, we think you deserve, a chance to come to the big leagues, make your debut, make a start. We need a guy. And here's the deal. Jacob deGrom, believe it or not, he's about ready to pitch. He's basically completed his rehab assignment, so he's going to be back in the rotation. Max Scherzer is closer to returning. And so the Rangers, at the time where deGrom will be back and Scherzer will be back, I mean, they're going to have a lot of starting pitching, and yet it may be just a spot start, but yet they didn't hesitate at all to bring up their number one pitching prospect. Just let them get a little taste, little feel for the major leagues. Once again, I'm at a loss to explain what the Cardinals are thinking. And I don't understand what Oli Marmol is thinking with his decision to bury Baker and Scott and leave them out of an offense where you have guys slumping all over the place, and it's an offense that's really cooled down. I just don't understand the logic, and I don't want to hear about, platoon splits, because platoon splits are useful, and I actually defend the manager on a lot of that stuff. But in this case, if Alec Burleson ain't hitting, and maybe he'll hit again, maybe he'll catch a third win or whatever, but if he's not doing it, does he have to be the DH every night? Look at some other people in there. I personally would like to see Baker get some at bats against right-handed pitchers. And here's one more thing about Baker. And here's what bothers me. So I went back and I looked at the last 6 games. Okay, that's what we're talking about. The last 6 games where the offense has been awful. The Cardinals have had 43 plate appearances against left-handed pitching, and they've hit 108. They've hit 108, and they've struck out 30% of the time. So Small sample, yep. 43 plate appearances the last 6 games against lefties. You know how many plate appearances Luken Baker has taken against those lefties who have pitched to 43 batters? Luken Baker has been in the batter's box for 3 of those. We know that he can crush left-handed pitching. So what can someone explain why when you have faced lefties, 43 guys that come to plate against him, and Baker was only 3 of the 43 plate appearances? I don't get it. And I think Victor Scott needs to play. And I'm rambling because I've made my point, and I could go on and on and on. But what's the point? I guess I should say, go team. Rah, rah, rah. Newt Rockney. Fight, 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 fight. Remember the 1964 Cardinals? Nah. Can't go there. Nah. That'll do it for today. And again, thank you very, very much for your support. I love your comments. I'm trying to get to them. They fire me up for a lot of reasons, but they're all good. Have a good day.